90.3 WHPC now presents Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now, learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property, and learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau, a past dean of the Nassau Academy of Law, and frequently lectures to lawyers on ethics and avoiding problems with clients, and to the public on how to choose and use lawyers. This is Law You Should Know on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, this is Ken Landau, and welcome to Law You Should Know. My special guest is Anthe Maria Bova, and she is the General Counsel and Director of Pro Bono Programs for the New York County Lawyers Association. She is also a Woman in Power Fellow for the Belfour Center at the 92nd Street Y in Manhattan, and that is their Social Justice Center. Anthe, welcome back to Law You Should Know.
Thank you.
I know you're doing a lot of exciting work, especially in the area of social justice, on behalf of the New York County Lawyers Association, and you have opportunities for lawyers, both new and old, and for paralegals and graduate students and law students to assist in those programs. So tell us about some of the programs that you run to help disadvantaged folks in the community and to help give them a better start.
Sure. So we have 12 active pro bono programs. As you mentioned, I'm the director of pro bono programs at NYCLA. And one of our really important initiatives that we have is our reentry initiative, which encompasses a few different programs. But the mission of the reentry initiative is to assist individuals with criminal records, some of whom have actually been formerly incarcerated, break down barriers, various civil barriers that are imposed by virtue of having a criminal record. So we have a program first that's a limited scope counseling program that helps them learn about what are called certificates of relief and certificates of good conduct. But the point of this program is not just educational, it's actually helping them learn about the certificate and apply for these certificates, which actually break down barriers, first and foremost, to employment. So it's important to note that most of the programs that we do and we focus on have the goal of increasing economic security and in facilitating the right to work for disadvantaged individuals in New York. So that's one way that we do this in our reentry initiative.
And just on that program, by removing the barriers, their conviction or whatever, they can obtain licenses, whether it's a lawyer or barber or whatever kind of professional license, so they can earn a living and help others in New York State.
Absolutely. And certificates certainly help with that. And we actually have a second program under our reentry initiative called Project Restore that specifically helps individuals who have applied for vocational licensing with the Department of State in New York and have been denied a vocational license simply by virtue of having a criminal record. So one of the most common licenses that's applied for is a security guard license, for instance, and that's a common one with the Department of State, but others include real estate appraiser, real estate broker, barber's licenses, which you mentioned. So we represent individuals who have applied for these types of licenses and have been denied them illegally by virtue of having a criminal record. And so there's an administrative hearing process that we go through. So that's a full scope representation program that we have. But it has a huge effect.
And you train volunteers to represent these people through the process and at the hearing.
Absolutely. So there's different types of training for each of our programs, but there is training involved for any program that a volunteer would get involved in. And, you had mentioned earlier, but I want to be clear that, you don't even necessarily need to be an admitted lawyer. And of course, we work with lawyers from, all sides of the spectrum or aspects of the spectrum of one's career, but we also work with law graduates, we work with law students, we work with college interns as well. So really anyone who wants to get involved in the work, we can find something for you, but there is absolutely training involved for all of our programs and most certainly for Project Restore, which represents individuals in these administrative hearings.
And as a side benefit for people that volunteer for this program and many others, is a chance to gain advocacy skills, is a chance to network, and it's a chance to do good.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Number one, there's absolutely a chance to do good, to help individuals who are disadvantaged, certainly already being affected by the criminal justice system first and foremost. But then once they're released, there are huge barriers faced in society by these individuals. So you're able to help these individuals out. And then by participating in our programs, you're either able to use your existing skill set or learn new skill sets by participating in our program. So if you're doing an administrative hearing, it's an adversarial proceeding. You can, elicit testimony, you can interview your client, you can prep them for the hearing, you can give opening and closing statements. So it's a really good experience, definitely for more junior attorneys. And you also don't need to be admitted to actually represent an individual in a hearing as well. So that's actually really important. A lot of the administrative hearing work that we do are really great opportunities for more junior attorneys or law graduates who aren't admitted yet to really start getting hands-on experience right away.
What are some of the other justice programs that you oversee?
Sure. When you say justice, I assume you mean the reentry initiative work, but I'll mention the last aspect of the reentry initiative that we do is Parole Prep. So what we try to do in a lot of the work the areas that we work in, but specifically in reentry, we try to really target the different areas and along the timeline that someone is affected by the criminal justice system. So in Parole Prep, we're actually assisting individuals who are incarcerated and are trying to get parole and have been denied parole. And we're assisting them appeal that denial of parole. But also an additional piece of that, so those are administrative hearings as well, by the way. But another piece of that is, as a bar association, we get a lot of correspondence from incarcerated individuals asking for help, of course, because of all of the pro bono work that we do. So we get requests asking for help, certainly in this sort of specific Parole Prep project, but in other ways as well. So we work to really formalize this, because since we are a well-known bar association who people write to directly asking for assistance, we decided to formalize this to really help them. So a lot of this is through letter writing that we do, since of course these individuals are incarcerated, and we do our best to really work with them to see how we can assist them.
And the program, with your efforts overseeing the program, providing training, the volunteers and the work of the volunteers, have many of your the people you've worked with and helped gone on to turn their lives around and start a new career?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think that for a lot of folks, it's just a matter of getting that first job. For other folks, it's a matter of moving on up in their careers and getting a better job. But there's one specific individual that I personally assisted with a couple of volunteers who was able to get their certificate of good conduct and has done a lot of work in the space of solitary confinement and done a lot of advocacy work, successful advocacy work, advocating to eliminate solitary confinement, which is huge. So, I think the truth of the matter is that the individuals who have been directly exposed and have experienced the system and have and this particular client actually had experienced solitary confinement is the one who's going to be able to advocate the most in society for this. And by getting this certificate, we were able to help propel him forward even more, right? He certainly had the skills. He had the wherewithal, and he had the motivation. But at the end of the day, by having that criminal record, there were barriers that he couldn't overcome on his own. So we helped him on the legal side of things.
And I know you have some other programs that are similar to this. And what other programs do you have to help people in potential claims of employment discrimination?
Well, in terms of employment discrimination, we have a legal counseling project that provides limited scope legal counseling in the areas of employment, family, and housing law. So to the extent someone has an employment discrimination issue, we could counsel them on that front. But we do have another program that isn't specific to employment discrimination per se, but speaking of administrative hearings, we have a project called the State Central Registry Project that, along the same lines and theme of what I mentioned of, breaking down barriers, of facilitating the right to work, and increasing economic security. We represent individuals who have wrongfully or unfairly been placed on the state central registry of child abuse and maltreatment. And the effect of that is putting massive barriers on someone's ability to certainly work first and foremost, but also their ability to adopt and foster children. So we represent individuals in their administrative hearings to appeal their listing on the registry.
And that can actually happen to a wide range of people, middle class, rich people. If you just innocently or for a moment, let's say, leave a child on their own or at home or unattended or in a car, you could be caught up in the social services web or the child protective services web.
Right. I think that a web is a really accurate way to describe it. Because the truth of the matter is that once you've been touched by the child welfare system, it's very hard to get out. And the people we represent are poor, for sure. But to your point, that this is a system that a lot of people don't know affects people across all socioeconomic spectrum. I've learned while doing a lot of this work over the years, people have come to me confidentially to tell me, hey, by the way, I hear you're doing this SCR work. I think it's really important, and I've been touched by it as well. And so I think that it's really important work to be doing, particularly advocating for the poor, because they're the ones who need the most assistance in this regard, because it's so hard for them to sort of get out from that web, that child welfare system web, without our assistance. And we have a huge success rate in this particular program. That, more than 50% of the cases that we handle, we're able to get settled and dropped before we even go to a hearing. And even when we go to a hearing, we're successful in basically almost 90% of our cases, which is a huge difference from when someone actually goes pro se.
And for the reasons
that we do there.
And for the reasons you mentioned earlier, this is a very good pro bono experience for lawyers. You're advocating, you're helping someone to get into a better place, and you're also achieving social justice.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a great volunteer experience because similar to the other administrative hearing programs that we have, you don't actually need to be admitted as a lawyer to actually advocate for someone at one of these hearings. So it's a really great experience for law students, law graduates, recent graduates, new lawyers who are really looking to cut their teeth in doing some type of advocacy work, particularly litigation, but you don't have to be a litigator to do it. And I certainly wasn't before I started doing this work. So it's a really great experience to do really direct client work, which a lot of folks don't get to do, especially if you're working at a larger law firm.
And if you're a recent law school graduate and you're waiting for bar results or awaiting admission, or awaiting your first job, this is a great thing to do, to build your resume and to make contacts and to improve your advocacy skills.
Yes, it's a great, a lot of the law graduates that come to me looking to, say, complete their 50 hours for admission after passing the bar, get involved in this program in order to really start getting some really great skills, advocacy skills under their belt. And
I just want to remind our listeners, you're listening to Law You Should Know. We're interviewing Anthe Maria Bova, and she's director of pro bono programs and also general counsel to the New York County Lawyers Association. Give us your website and how people can contact you for more information if they want to get on these panels or find out more about these panels.
Sure. So our website is nycla.org, nycla.org. And if anyone is interested in getting involved in our pro bono programs, they could feel free to contact me directly. And my email is abova@nycla.org, abova@nycla.org.
And we'll give that information again later in the program. You also offer programs to veterans and to many other groups. So tell us about the veterans programs and some of the other groups that you try to help through the New York County Lawyers Association.
Sure. So veterans work is extremely important to us. And so one of the programs that we have that was initiated by our past president, Stephen Lessard, who is a veteran himself, is our Veterans Discharge Upgrade Program. So this is a program that a lot of people don't even know there is a need for. So veterans, when they're discharged from the military, most people think, oh, well, they're discharged honorably or dishonorably, and don't understand there's actually gradations between that. But the point of this is that if someone's discharged anything less than honorable, it can have a huge effect on their ability to access crucial veterans benefits. And this is, of course, we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about the GI Bill, we're talking about VA home loans, hundreds of thousands of dollars of benefits. And so the reason this program is so important is we're finding more and more there are histories of veterans who have been discharged from the military due to behavior linked to mental health issues, namely post-traumatic stress disorder and injuries that resulted in what is known as TBI, traumatic brain injury. So we advocate for these individuals who have not really been diagnosed properly and were discharged from the military wrongfully with a discharge status that prevented them from accessing these crucial benefits, to upgrade their status to an honorable status so they can actually access these crucial benefits and not be effectively discriminated against for having mental health issues that were the result of service, right? So PTSD, TBI, these are things that were incurred and that happened during military service. And they ended up being discharged less than honorably as a result of behavior because of these types of conditions that they incurred during service.
I know that another one of your programs is the Special Master's Program. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So we actually just recently relaunched a Special Master's Program, which was spearheaded by NYCLA board member Austin D'Souza. And the Special Master's Program isn't a pro bono program per se, but it is a volunteer program. So it is important to mention. So we recently relaunched the program, which is a relaunch from a program that we had back in 1976 to help the court system manage a congested calendar. And of course, certainly now, it shouldn't be a surprise to your listeners that there's a huge backlog in the courts. And so NYCLA thought it would be really important to relaunch this program in collaboration with the Franklin H. Williams Commission and, of course, the Office of Court Administration with the backing of the new Deputy Chief Administrative Judge, Deborah Kaplan, in order to help the court system with training special masters to serve various judges in the court to help them, eliminate or decrease the backlog. But a really important part of this program is to create a pipeline for underrepresented attorneys to gain access to the court system, right? So historically, special masters, this is not a new concept, but special masters have tended to be some of the most experienced and well-represented attorneys. And so the thought that Austin D'Souza had, who wanted to relaunch this program, is, there's obviously a need here. So why can't we bring in attorneys who have been underrepresented in the court system to train them to help with this backlog? So, it's a really, really important program. We're really excited about it. It's literally just relaunching now to begin sometime in 2022. So we're really excited to see what comes of it.
And if someone is interested in applying for that program, how can they do that?
So the applications for the program for 2022 have passed, but we expect this to be a continuing program every year, right? So we're not going to be able to tackle the backlog right away. So the plan is to have a training every year. So there's a special place on our website that you can go to. Again, our website is nycla.org that has a summary of the program itself, and you'll be able to see when the posting is for the next round of applications in 2022.
And also, as you mentioned before, if any law graduates, lawyers, young or old, paralegals, college or graduate students want to volunteer for any of your programs, they can just go to your website, nycla.org.
Yes, absolutely. For the special master's program, you do need to be an admitted attorney, but for most of our pro bono programs, you do not need to be admitted. We take volunteers from all aspects of careers, and not even necessarily lawyers. As I mentioned, we even take college interns. So there are ways to get involved, and happy to speak to anyone who's interested to find the right fit for you.
And you provide training and support.
Yes, we have one-on-one mentorship. We have training that both offered online, and we can do one-on-one training as well.
And your other hat is that you're guiding the New York County lawyers as they make their transition from their former home on VC Street into permanent quarters. And
Sure.
you hope that will happen sometime during 2022?
Yes, so we sold our historic building at 14 Vesey earlier this year, and as you mentioned, that was a big project, and we're really happy about it. I mean, it's really looking to the future. The point is that we're building a bar association for the 21st century, and this is really about servicing our members. So we are currently in temporary space at 7 World Trade, and we expect to be there probably through the spring of 2022, and then settling into more permanent space in downtown Manhattan. So we're still going to be the Bar Association close to the courts. We are going to have a home, and we currently have a home as well for members to come and use legal research services. So it's a really great opportunity for lawyers to get involved, not just in pro bono programs, which I talked about, but we have legal committees where you can get involved to learn about different legal areas and do some advocacy as well. And of course, we have a really strong CLE Institute where you can learn a lot about different areas of the law as well through our CLE program.
And for attorneys out there, whether they're new or old or young or old or on their own or in a large firm, being in the Bar Association provides tremendous networking opportunities to learn about fields, to network with people in those fields, to network with people who might need your field, etc. I mean, you're getting the broad range of attorneys you can network with, and you can always fine-tune your networking by joining committees of interest.
Sure, right. I mean, I think people love to talk about networking, and some people might even dread the thought of it or the idea of it, but I think it's really what you make of it. I mean, I think NYCLA is a very friendly environment to get involved in, even if you're not sure what you're interested in. I mean, that's the truth of the matter is. So you can join a particular committee and get involved in that one particular committee if you have a specific interest in a certain area of the law, or you can try them all. I mean, we actually have an open committee system, so you can get involved in as many committees as you'd like. And so it's a really great opportunity to learn about different areas of the law, meet other attorneys and law graduates and law students. And so there's that. It's really about the connection. That's what I refer to it, less so than networking.
And you make it easy for new or attorneys to join.
Yes, so absolutely. Law students, law graduates, and newly admitted attorneys 2 years out all get complimentary membership. And so there's no membership fee for anyone in that category. So it's really easy to join, to try it out, to just see what it's like. And like I mentioned, you can join committees and get involved in planning events and get discounts on CLE and other member benefits.
And if someone's undergoing a hardship, they're disabled or they lost their job, I imagine you'll give them some consideration? Yes,
we do have a member fee waiver benefit program that we consider on an individualized basis. Absolutely.
What are some other reasons someone should consider joining the Bar Association, or what other benefits would you say a person can have by joining the New York County Lawyers Association?
I think job opportunities is a really good one as well. I think we're living in a very, some people calling it a new normal now. I think a lot of people are kind of trying to figure out maybe the career path that they're on is not the one that they're sure about. And so maybe the best way to go about that is meeting other attorneys who are doing different things, even in an area of law that you're already practicing, to see maybe there's something else I can try out. So I think, certainly my exposure to NYCLA has been eye-opening as well, just to learn about all of the different types of things you can do with a law degree. So I think being part of a bar association with thousands of members is really going to give you that really quick and easy access to figuring out, what are the actual job opportunities and job paths out there for me. I've certainly learned a lot personally just working at NYCLA about that.
And you'll help people, you or someone there will help match people up to the appropriate committees or perhaps attorneys who can act as their mentors.
Absolutely. And we're actually just relaunching a new formal NYCLA mentoring program as well, spearheaded by a NYCLA board member, Eugene Frankel, where we'll be matching more seasoned attorneys with less experienced attorneys to have that formalized mentorship. But if you don't want that, we can certainly, there are opportunities to do that in less formal ways. But I'm certainly someone who could be available to you if you have any questions about that.
And attorneys do not have to live in or necessarily work in Manhattan to join your bar associations, but they do have to join the bar in some way.
Yeah, so we actually have an international membership. So our membership is not at all limited to individuals, working or living in New York County. So anyone living anywhere, and certainly we have attorneys who are practicing in other jurisdictions that are members of NYCLA, and there's a lot of benefits to that as well.
I just want to remind our listeners that you're listening to Law You Should Know. Our guest is Anthe Maria Bova. She's the General Counsel and Director of Pro Bono Programs for the New York County Lawyers Association. If you've missed any part of this program or you want to tell someone else about it, the podcast is available at nccradio.org. Just give us your contact information one more time for anyone interested in the County Lawyers Association or any of the pro bono programs you've mentioned.
Sure. So it's Anthe Maria Bova, Bova at nycla.org. And again, our website is nycla.org. And you can find me on the website as well.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for being our guest on Law You Should Know. And as you've heard, there are tremendous opportunities for young lawyers, not so young lawyers, paralegals, college students, law graduates or law students to get involved in meaningful programs and to learn about advocacy and learn about helping people. And if you have any questions, please go to their website at nycla.org. Or if you want to find out about their other programs, their other committees, and their other programs for lawyers, for young lawyers and lawyers in all different fields of law. Thank you for listening to Law You Should Know, and please join us again next week at the same time on 90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College, for another program on Law You Should Know.